Lift up my voice, I'ma praise Yahweh. You are, yeah. Chains break off when I call Yasha. Sure. Hands in the sky, we gon' dance with power. Yeah. Sheep don't sleep, we awake this hour. We awake. Sing a new song, heart full of fire. Sword in my hand, lived in a choir. Saints on the rise, enemies tired. Judgment written, truth never expires. Armor alert when I step in the city. Praise on my lips, got the whole flock with me. Drums in the temple, my spirit get busy. Yahweh's the king, every knee gon' witness. Dancing with joy, chains on the floor. Ooh, yeah. Victory's mine, we breaking the door. Break it down. High praise the sound like thunder and war. Oh, yeah. Yeshua reign forevermore. Evermore. Lift up my voice, I'ma praise Yahweh. Yahweh. Chains break off when I call Yeshua. Break it. Yeshua. Hands in the sky, we gon' dance with power. She don't sleep, we awake this hour. We wait. 2-edged sword when I speak that word. Word. Saints on the move, whole earth gon' learn. Nation judge, wicked hearts overturn. Overturn. Every false crown gon' crash and burn. We the chosen, no fear in the fight. Glorious Zion, we walk in his might. Yeah, his might. Darkest flee when we step in the light. Sheep of the lamb, forever upright. Praise in my lungs, I can't hold it in. No. From the dust, he forgave all my sins. Yeah. Marching with angels, the kingdom within. Yahweh my rock, we destined to win. To win. Yeah. Lift up my voice, I'ma praise Yahweh. Yahweh. Yeah. Can't break off when I call you. Sure. Break it. Hands in the sky, we gon' dance with power. She don't sleep, we awake this hour. We wait.
Hallelujah. Yeah.
Yeshua. I lift my hands, I praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Yeah. Straight from the dirty raised me. Yahweh's word never shaky. Battling storms on the daily. Still I rise, he gon' save me. Psalm 50 in the chamber. Praises cut deep like a razor. Got no fear of the danger, cause Yeshua my anchor. Enemies fall, they stumble. Prideful men gon' crumble. He the ride when I'm humble. King of kings in the jungle. Through the valley I walk, I know you with me. Chains broke off, yeah, his power set me free. Never be ashamed, let the whole world see. Every knee gon' bow when he claim his seat. I lift my hands, I praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Yeah. yeah. Deuteronomy flow blessings chasing me down. If I keep his commands, I'll never drown. Got the truth in my heart, put the law in my crown. Yeah, his word on my lips, yeah, his power and sound. I was lost, he restored me. Grace and mercy before me. Enemies tried to floor me, but Yahweh gon' work for me. Isaiah 40:31, mount up, I'ma rise and run. Strength renewed, it's never done. In Yeshua I overcome. When I call your name, I'm covered in peace. Chains fall off, yeah, all the pain release. Forever I'll stand in your love increase. Yahweh, my song, let my praise never cease. Yeah. I lift my hands high, praise Yahweh through the night. Even in the fire, Yeshua is my light. When the world turns cold, I'm still holding on tight. Every breath I breathe, I'ma praise him for life. Yeah. I'm walking in the spirit, no fear when I hear it. Yah's voice clear, I revere it. Enemies can't interfere it. Glory to the King of Zion, Yeshua forever reigning. Every tribe, every tongue gon' cry out his name and praise him.
All right, welcome in, y'all. Welcome back to the Warsheep podcast. Peace and shalom, shalom. Listen, we got quite a bit to talk and go over here today. Some things that honestly is profound, things that we really need to know. And honestly, tell you the truth, once we peel back the layers, we can really look at what is truly taking place here. What do we realize and what are we witnessing? What's happening for real, right? We want to know exactly what's going on. We don't want just the surface level of what the mainstream media would want to tell us about what's going on with this whole war situation in Iran. Why are we even in Iran? What does it make sense to be there for? Why? You know what I mean? Like right now, my thing is this, all the signs that we need to see, that we need to be able to have present in order to understand that Revelations is truly jumping off the page a little bit more now than it has in previous years. The war in Iraq, the war, the Cold War, things like that took place. Why is it so pronounced now that Revelations and end time prophecy is fitted more to what we're witnessing now? Let's go ahead and dive deep into this and more. Honestly, we're going to reveal some of the facts or truth behind what's truly taking place and why. Let's get it.
Preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, he's violent.
All right, y'all, let's go ahead and dive into this thing. I'll honestly tell you the truth. What I really want to do is bring forth quite a bit of information for us to chew on. Now, me personally, I've kind of already been speaking about this particular situation and why it matters, right? Because, you know, for reasons that we're about to disclose here today, this is so important that we pay attention to what's happening, right? But shout out to everybody who's in here right now. Shout out to Hype Williams, brother Hype Williams, welcome in. All my righteous alpha men, drop a ring in the chat for me, please. And all my elegant women who's exceptional, drop a sheep in the chat for me, please. Let's get this ball rocking and rolling. Bro Styles, welcome in. And my brother Vic, welcome in. This is who I see in the chat. Man, y'all go ahead and show some love real quick. And my thing is this, y'all. When we're diving into this particular conversation on Iran and the war in Iran and things like that, and why is it pertaining to biblical prophecy? Not only do they speak about it, but they also are given very tall tale signs. I'm going to tell you this much. As many times as I've mentioned it on this podcast, as many times as I've mentioned it, that individuals, right, in the monetary game, monetary money. You got to understand who's leading in the industry for industrial goods. That's going to be China. China is going to be the leader in the industry for industrial goods. They are the manufacturers who create mostly and majority of everything that we see here in the US and in other countries abroad as well. They have monopolized the manufacturing world. You understand what I'm saying? They're almost in just about every country, right? And people rely on them for trading and for goods. You know what I mean? You understand what I mean? Now, one thing that I said before is that China is looking to be a world power when it comes to currency. When it comes to currency and financial currency, right? China is looking to be a world power. But let's pause for a second and take a look as to what the history is behind people who try to overthrow or supersede the authority of the U.S. when it comes to being a world power monetarily, when it comes to being a world power through money. We have Omar Gaddafi. We have a lot of these other individuals. I believe the leaders that were in Iraq, you know, you got Saddam Hussein and all the rest of these individuals who were looking to get their currency backed by gold and silver. So let's keep it honest. Whenever you find somebody, whenever you find a leader that's a part of a different country, y'all, and they're looking to make their currency a world power, to make it even more powerful or have a little bit more authority when it's backed by gold and silver, the United States of America, they do not like that. They don't like it one bit, because our monetary reserves, our Federal Reserve notes, our money is literally backed by air. Literally. There is nothing tangible that is backing our money. No gold, no silver. And that's effective after 1967. After 1967, you could no longer trade in any Federal Reserve notes for silver itself or gold. You understand what I'm saying? So it became ineffective. And also it just became IOUs. Now, if we have an American dollar that is just that flimsy, and I see it in the chat already, fake money is going to go up and down while real money is beyond. Yep, that's right. Stacks precious metals. Yeah, stack your precious metals. I already see it in the chat. You got to put up your precious metals. You understand what I'm saying? Whatever it may be, acquire precious metals, gold, silver, things like that. Because my thing is that the Federal Reserve notes are going to collapse, they're going to crumble, and they're going to go downhill. I promise you, they're working hard on taking the American dollar. Now, I'm saying this because Israel wishes for it to be that way. And not only that, the American government wishes for that to take place as well. Individuals who are pushing home that agenda to collapse or destroy the American dollar, that's exactly what they're attempting to do. That's what they're working hard on. I promise you that right now. So when we're taking a look at a lot of this stuff, you got to know that we need to mobilize in the proper direction, because the US dollar only has a short amount of time before it actually takes root into failure, right? But let's not make no mistakes. We're going to listen in as to why these individuals are truly over in Iraq or Iran. Why are they waging this war with Iran? And what is the true purpose of this war, right? Let's take a listen as to what this individual may think and what they believe, right? And not only that, it's not really truly a belief. This is actual truth. Something that we really need to hang on to and honestly chew on. Let's take a listen real quick, y'all.
Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. If you're going to come out with programmable money,
with a revolutionary new payment system,
with digital IDs that are interoperable globally, that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford.
The war is a distraction from this.
Wait, it's not about their nukes?
No. Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. If you're going to come out with programmable money,
with a revolutionary new payment system,
with digital digital IDs that are interoperable globally that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. Iran right now is the big leakage in the system. Now, Larry Fink and BlackRock have said
we need to move very rapidly.
They're planning on trading all stocks and bonds using tokens.
All investments on a tokenized platform.
What it means is this is going to be,
we have one common blockchain.
Potentially $100, $200, $300 trillion market. $100, $200, $300 trillion market.
The wars, the Epstein files, the aliens, AI, it's all to keep you from the truth. The power brokers are trying to preserve US dollar dominance at any costs. All the value is converging into precious metals and soon the digital rails. Put your faith in God and he'll handle the rest.
All right, so now we hear what that is, right? We hear what's taking place there. We're noticing what's going on. One thing that I know that you guys off top, if you are listening to this video closely, right? If you're listening to this video closely, I know that you noticed something off top immediately. All right. I know that you noticed something immediately, and that was that there's a token. They are trading all stocks and bonds and putting it into certain tokens, right? And then that's what we've noticed off top. Trading in stocks and bonds and turning it into some sort of reserve, okay? Some sort of token, right? A new revolutionary-ized medium of exchange that they're looking to create, or that they are creating. They've already begun the process of creating it. But the only real gap or hole is Iran. Iran is the only real problem that they're dealing with, who does not want to conform to this new token, this new way, right? Because, of course, with Iran not wanting to do so, they would not be able to enforce this as a new world currency. Now, those are the key aspects here. You understand what I'm saying? A new world currency is the key aspects we need to understand here, right? Osama's son, that's right. They mobilizing. They've been moving. And so that's my thing, right? Is that this new world currency that they're looking to launch in form of tokens, selling all stocks and bonds, meaning all of your stocks, all of your things that you have right now that you consider to be an asset in trading markets. They're going to tank the black market. They're going to, not the black market, but they're going to tank the Wall Street, right? They're going to tank straight trading, stocks and bonds. They're going to tank that, and they're going to stockpile it into tokens. That's what they're going to do. And so, since they're going to destroy or collapse that, what's going to happen to our reserves? What's going to happen to our money? What's going to happen to our economy? Because our economy is heavily reliant on Wall Street, right? Trading, things like that. People who got their, honestly, the world's going to shift and change and move. If you have jobs that AI will dominate in the next few years, then you need to understand that you're in jeopardy. If you're somebody who is heavy into trading stocks and bonds, if you're heavy into that, be on the lookout, because they're looking and seeking to destroy every little bit of it. And when they do tank it, it's not a thing as to where you have a right to a payout. It's not a thing as to where you have a right to a payout. You have a right to your money that you have in those stocks and those bonds. You will lose everything in a blink of an eye. The only thing that will not ever be able to be tanked is gold and silver. You understand what I'm saying? Those are tangible assets, as Brother Vic put down here in the chat. Those are tangible assets. Those are the things that will not be able to be brought to a lower state. Anything's going to increase in its value. Now, once they tank Wall Street, once they take it down and tank it, I promise you this new currency, this new world currency, let's keep this in mind, because we knew where this state at this at, right? We knew for a fact that when it talked about a world currency, it talked about it over in Revelations. We know that this currency had to be a one world currency, And this is how they're able to dictate whether you're allowed to buy or sell. Okay. Earning income, all these other things. This is how they're going to be able to dictate it, is when they have formed a new one world currency, a new one world religion, a new one world everything. And they're going to do it off the back of tyranny, off the back of destruction, off the back of mayhem. And it's going to be a choice for you to sign up for it or not. This is going to be an absolute and 100% choice. This is where land and growing crops and coming together to defend that land and those crops. This is where all of that comes into play. It's extremely important, right? Because it could happen in our lifetime, or it could happen in our children's lifetime. But either way, it's still on its way to development, right? We see that it's still on its way to development, right? Let's continue. Let's listen in one more time here. Let's play it back as to what they had to say in regards to the U.S. and Iran beefing and going to war. Israel's 110% behind it, backing it, and they're involved in everything that's going on currently in Iran. Because we know for a fact that Israel wants what it wants. It wants sole power. It wants sole global dominance, right? And this is the Zionist agenda. This is the Zionist movement that wishes to have global power. That's the reason why when people tell you, hey, let me tell you this. When people tell you not to eat the beef at McDonald's because it probably is not beef at all. When they tell you these things, it's for a real reason. When they tell you certain things that, of course, Israel has control over, you got to know to avoid those things for the simple fact that they're feeding it to you. This is what's truly going on. They're not bluffing. That's why you have halal meats. That's why the reason why they call it halal meats is because they want their people to know that that's an indicator that this has not been tampered with. Okay, this has not been tampered with. So we gotta understand and recognize when something's being weaponized against you. Okay. But let's go ahead and get into this thing. Let me play this back one more time here.
Here she comes.
Hold on.
That's why the
war is a distraction from this.
Wait, it's not about their nukes?
No. Iran's central bank counts because their oil and energy is very important, including for China. If you're going to come out with programmable money,
with a revolutionary new payment system,
with digital IDs that are interoperable globally, that controls in each jurisdiction centrally, you can't afford leakage. Iran right now is the big leakage in the system. Now, Larry Fink and BlackRock have said
We need to move very rapidly.
they're planning on trading all stocks and bonds using tokens.
All investments on a tokenized platform.
So all investments on a tokenized platform, all stocks and bonds, trading all stocks and bonds and putting into investment on a tokenized platform. You already know what's going on with that. If they're trading all stocks and bonds, that means we're going to what? Sell. We're going to sell heavy. We're going to get rid of everything. And that would mean that our current economy is going to change. Now, of course, Brother Vic, of course, is putting in here, remember the U.S. dollar depends on oil reserves and sales. Absolutely. They are currently now attacking the oil reserves. They're currently attacking one of the main things, main money makers for Iran, which is oil, petrol. That is one of their main money makers. Something that sustains the country itself is the sale of liquid gold, of the black liquid gold, of oil. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, so when we are looking at what they're doing and how Israel and America is currently moving together, they're mobilizing together to attack Iran. We got to understand that this is the key factors to cripple that particular country from being able to oppose a new world currency, which is going to be in form of these tokens. They're trying to tank and destroy Wall Street, our economy, and the way that it currently is, so they can rebuild it. We know the characteristics of Revelations and what they do. You understand what I'm saying? We know the characteristics. Let's continue.
Means this is going to be,
We have one common blockchain.
potentially 100, 200, 300 trillion dollar market. 100, 200, 300.
Now, I want you guys to know that this is the United States way of thinking about how to get out of debt. If you take a look at the debt margins right now, we're trillions of dollars in debt right now. Currently, we owe the national banks, right? We owe national banks trillions of dollars. It's the best way to be able to get us out of that catastrophe. It's one of the best ways to do it. Why not destroy the economy as we know it now, completely abandon it, right? It's almost like setting your house on fire and you got insurance. You got insurance and you set your house on fire. You understand what I'm saying? You're getting sick of the house. The house is a death trap. You got electricity, electrical hazards. You got fire hazards all over the place. Things are just bad. And then you just decide to light that joint on fire. Guess what? Now you can say, hey, the source of that problem was due to this, not this. And then you can get a payout, a huge payout that will not only settle the debt for that particular home, but also that will have you built a whole brand new house. So their way of being able to destroy the economy, destroying it, putting it on fire is another way to be able to say, I want out of this national debt. I want to get rid of the national debt margins. Because when you take the economy, you're also trying to get rid of the debt that's associated with that economy. So, if they want to take over and continue to be a world power monetarily, right? They got to form a new currency that's going to be backed by something, or that's going to be more powerful or stronger than anything else that's being currently created. Right? So we got to understand, we got to know that for sure. Let's continue.
$1 trillion market.
The wars, the Epstein files, the aliens, AI, it's all to keep you from the truth. The power brokers are trying to preserve US dollar dominance at any costs. All the value is converging into precious metals and soon the digital.
So he said that they're trying to preserve US dollar. They're trying to preserve the US dollar. They're trying to still continue to make it a world power. And then this is their main focus and goal, because if they lose that position to China or to someone else, then that puts us in a subservient position. Now we have to do what? Potentially be a third world country. We'd potentially have our dollars collapse. We're not as powerful or as strong as we once was, right? When it came to monetary reserve, when it comes to money. So their main goal, their main focus is to get that monetary foothold to be sure that they continue to keep the US in power as a world currency. All while they continue to fuel the war machines. They continue to go out and be tyrants and bullies in other people's countries and other people's lands. They're still looking to be able to move the way that they feel they want to move, siphoning resources, taking resources, things like that. If they want to move like this, they have to continue to hold the position of being a world power in currency and economic growth. Now, I'm all for us continuing to be a world power in currency if we're doing it responsibly. If we're doing it responsibly and we're acting in a righteous foothold, right? Then I don't have any issues with it. But honestly, it's been time after time where the U.S. government has made decisions to destroy and to cause wreak havoc in other people's countries. And they're causing a lot of problems there because they're making some decisions that are very questionable decisions and choices to make. So that's going to be my biggest problem, is that we're not having integrity. We're not having righteousness in regards to leadership. This country that was founded on biblical principles no longer is biblically sound, and it has never really truly been sound that way. It just deteriorated even more so over time. Now we're in a state to where, of course, this is truly the world where the house of Satan, or Lucifer, is ruling the rooster. He's running the show here, right? And he only has a bit of time. My thing is that I wonder what would take place with Iran. How would Iran react to not only the U.S., but also Israel looking to dominate it, right? all these airstrikes. But let's continue because I want to go into the airstrikes that they have already taken on this particular on Iran. Recent airstrikes that went out and trying to cripple this particular country. So now, of course, you wage war, and like I said, I covered the false flags. I covered a false flag, a guy who was wearing the property of Allah shirt, property of Allah, really taking a group of people and making them more of an enemy. You understand what I'm saying? That making those group of people, Muslims or whatever it may be, over in the Middle East, more of an enemy to the U.S., right? By planting these particular sleeper cells to go out and commit acts of violence to stoke the fire, so to speak, so the American citizens can get behind 100%. Like I said, just like they did with 9/11, stoking the fire, getting the flames going, so that way the people would be interested and sold out to joining the U.S. military, to joining armed forces to defend the country, right? Whereas to where they created that in-house. They created the issue themselves. They actually did it themselves. And I'm talking about the shooter that was over here in Austin, the Austin shooter, where they found a Quran just conveniently placed in his vehicle, where they found him conveniently wearing a Prophet of Allah sweater, right? Where they just found conveniently that he was all this evidence they found conveniently placed, right? Before he actually did what he did. And so they're going to link that and associate that with Iran immediately because that's who they want war with. And a lot of these people who are sold out to the CNN, Fox, and all of the mainstream media machines that are pushing the narrative, they're going to be sold into believing this. Just as we were sold into believing this when we were listening into these networks talking about 9/11. But these networks didn't talk about 9/11 in the same light that we've learned it now, whereas to where we see that now it more than likely was an inside job. They didn't talk about it in that light. They talk about it in light where there was terrorism afoot and that individuals had to, men and women, had to go and give their life to fight this war to protect U.S. soil, which obviously that is an absolute and complete and total lie. They sold a vision. They told us a vision through the television. They told us a vision and we were sold a vision. They channeled a vision to us, the American people. And we were sold out for that vision, right? We went over there and just went and fought over a decade long battle in Iraq, over a decade long. Now we have what? Dr. Umar Johnson said another COVID gonna happen soon. Yeah, why not? Because why not? Now we have it to where Saddam Hussein's son is on a tirade, like I said, to bring war to U.S. soil. He is moving hard, right? Osama bin Laden's son is moving hard to bring war to U.S. soil. We've been talking about it. They've been ignoring them. Now it's like they're addressing Iran, and these people have already clicked up and band together. Who else is on there is allied with them? Well, let's go ahead and take a look real quick at what they're doing over in Iran currently, what Israel has recently done in Iran, because we got to know more about what's going on with the Zionist agenda and why this is taking place, right? You see it there, right? Let me go ahead and make this larger, right? Israel strikes oil storage facilities, right? So Israel is striking the oil storage facilities currently, okay? And we need to understand that this is what they've been doing. This is what they've been doing. This is what they've been up to. Okay, so let's listen in as to what they have to say in regards to this real quick. Let's go.
And he has been following these developments very closely. David, good to have you on today.
Thank you for having me on.
So I did give a bit of a recap there right off the top of some of the things that we had been following for the last several hours. What really stuck out to you, and what really, out of all of those developments, could possibly change the trajectory of this entire conflict?
Well, I think, first of all, I mean, the very fact that Hezbollah joined in this conflict, given its domestic constraints, given the fact that, I mean, just over a year ago, they got out of a war that they got, they fell into. They didn't really expect their intervention in the Gaza conflict to turn into a full war. Decimated their political leadership, decimated most of their arsenal, and yet we find them again starting a conflict with the Israelis. And this suggests to me that they're sensing that the Israeli-American war in Iran is heading in a direction that's going to threaten the regime's existence. Otherwise, why risk the predictably furious Israeli response and the equally predictably furious response from Lebanese, or again, dragging them into a foreign conflict? The one thing that could really change this trajectory is if the United States and Israel stop the war prematurely for whatever reason. If President Trump accepts any Iranian offer for negotiation, some kind of off-ramp that allows the regime to preserve its existence, lick its wounds from this conflict, preserve its existence, but then return back to the same behaviors that led us to this point to begin with.
I want to put up next here, it's a map of the region just to give our viewers a bit more context as to some of the surrounding countries. Now, this conflict, David, as you know, it appears to be affecting multiple countries across the Middle East right now. How concerned are regional governments about this risk of a further expansion when it comes to the fighting?
Well, I mean, I think it's expanded as far as it can already. Where there are attacks on the Gulf states, there's attacks in Iraq, in Jordan, and Iran is saying that it's only attacking U.S. assets in these countries. But really, what they're trying to do, and it's first of all not true, right? We've seen footage of attacks on, say, hotels in the United Arab Emirates and elsewhere, and what they're trying to do is kind of hit the soft underbelly of American regional power. The Gulf states are prosperous countries. They're not, they've had a history of war, say in Yemen, but they're not inclined towards fighting. They don't have that durability that or the endurance the Israelis have built up from unfortunately decades of experiencing war after war after war. And what the Iranians are hoping is this harassment of the Gulf states will lead them to effectively cry uncle. And given their influence with President Trump, given President Trump's proximity to the Gulf states, they'll turn to him and say, President Trump, please stop this war in Iran. We can't take anymore. And again, that'll lead to a premature ceasefire that'll allow the Islamic Republic to endure everything that Iran is doing right now. I don't think they expect a genuine military victory in the conventional sense. They're trying to get what the United States and Israel to do to stop, because they want the regime to survive. Again, not so they can come to a real modus vivendi with either the United States and Israel or the regional countries, but so they can go back to the business of regional destabilization, proxies, building up their ballistic missile arsenal, and of course, going back to rebuilding their nuclear program.
As we talk a little bit about some of these goals that Iran still has.
Now, we hear exactly what's being said, going back to building up their nuclear ballistic missiles and their nuclear programming. They want to go back into doing life as normal. What comes with that when you have to be complicit or you have to bend the knee to Israel in the U.S., right? You got to bend the knee to them. So what happens? What really truly comes from that, right? Even though they speak about the ballistic missiles and nukes, honestly, tell you the truth, if anything, I would say that Iran and Iranian people would have an understanding to launch nukes if they're losing a little too bad. If they're losing too bad, then they will launch those nukes no problem, because they'll see it as an honorable sacrifice. You understand? They'll see it as an honorable sacrifice. And these people are people that strap bombs to themselves, and their people will literally be willing to go to death for what they truly believe in. You get what I'm saying? So the reason why I'm saying is because we think about the characteristic of Iran and Iraq and those individuals, right? People that claim to be radicals, right? People that claim to be terrorists, things like that. And they constantly try to paint that picture. We all know that their behavior is self-deletion if something were to go wrong. If something did not pan out in their favor, they're going to go toward the direction of self-deletion in order to make the goal stick, right? In order to make it right. The only way that they will not be able to do it is if they don't have the capabilities of it. So I'm very curious and interested in understanding more about this particular ballistic missile and nuclear capabilities that Iran has. because I believe that they would have already nuked the world if they had the ability or capability to do so. This is the type of people with a mindset to strap a bomb to their chest and to blow up everything in sight because they're looking to what? Preserve their people in whatever cost or preserve their way of life. This is the type of people we're dealing with. If we're dealing with people who have that mindset, then why wouldn't they have launched those nukes? Wouldn't have launched the ballistic missiles? Why didn't they do it after all of these strikes that has been done on their soil from Iraq, from Israel, and the U.S.? Why haven't they fought? Why haven't they launched back? Why haven't they launched their ballistic missiles? Why haven't they launched their nuclear weapons? Why haven't they done so just yet? And then that's what I really want to know, right? Welcome in, Sister Rose. Good to see you in this thing. Mama Clay, welcome in. Good to see you in this thing. Remember, they are destroyed the general publicist resources, not theirs. Then they hire controlled opposition to get you interested in their psyops. Dow, Big Judah, Donald L, and influencers are evil. Alex Jones is also controlled opposition. Yeah, and so Alex Jones has progressively gotten far away from his original content. You know, Alex Jones used to cover a lot of this stuff and be really great at covering some of the stuff that they didn't want you to uncover. Nowadays, he's a little bit softer about it. So I don't typically listen to him as much anymore. But when you're listening to these individuals here on mainstream media, they're not going to tell you what the truth really is. I'm literally telling you that this is all a money play. This is all a money play. It's based on resources and money. Because if they're going to launch these new reserves, they're going to launch these new tokens, if they're going to launch a new world power currency, they need to have everybody who is not in alignment and subservient to them to align with them and to be subservient to them. And Iran will be one who honestly constantly had conflict with them since 1979, right? Since they were revolutionized. Since Iran revolutionized themselves, they've always had conflict with the U.S. They've always had a problem with the U.S. They've never been able to find any grounds to actually cooperating with the U.S. Where you have China, who is able to do a medium exchange. At least we could be able to trade and barter with China. We don't deal with Russia. Iran is somebody who has close ties to Russia, Iraq. These individuals, they don't fool with the U.S. So if you start with the Middle East, because you already know that Russia would never bend the knee. You got Vladimir Putin, who is honestly hopped up on testosterone, and this guy is a man's man. You understand? He's going to go to war if you provoke him, right? And that's just a war machine that we honestly don't want to stoke. We don't want to have a problem with, because they also have the backing of China. China, it would be more an ally to Russia than China would be an ally to the United States. They could care less about the United States, and they will care more about Russia and how Russia's moving, especially with their newfound alliance through BRICS. So their interest would be for Russia to be successful in their endeavors, right? Where, of course, you know, we see with the Ukrainian war that Russia is still dominating that war regardless. And Ukraine had to obviously bend the knee, not only to the U.S., but also had to bend the knee to Russia. They're bombing their country to smithereens, literally destroying Ukraine, literally. And Ukrainian leadership is more than willing to go all the way down with the ship, sinking with the ship. And there are people literally having to suffer because they don't understand how to conform, right? They don't understand how to when they've already been defeated by a power, right? By a war machine that's just bigger than them. They're bigger and stronger. No matter how many US dollars is being thrown at that war to get Ukraine to succeed, they still don't have the numbers in order to be successful in that battle, right? War is always a way to gain money, to gain wealth. People have investments in war. The war machine is the money, is the cash cow. So if we can start a war to gain some money, then of course, you know that we hurt financially. And these individuals want to start this war so they can be able to get their pockets filled, right? That's just kind of what it is. If things hit the fan, they will eat people to feed themselves and their families. Those are not saints. Yeah. So you got to understand, they're doing it now. They're feeding people, human beings, to individuals right now, right? Through our food system. That's why you got to be careful when you go out to eat. What are you truly consuming? What are you eating? Where are they getting all this beef? Where are they getting all of this beef from? Where is all this coming from? If McDonald's has serviced over 1 billion clients and 1 billion people with some sort of product or meat product, where are all of these cows in order to sustain even the United States, right? Whereas to where you have over in Detroit, they found a meat plant in Detroit. They found a meat plant, and then in that meat plant, you got to understand what they found: human bodies. They found human remains in a McDonald's meat packing plant, right? You understand what I'm saying? Never can't win against all of those. That's right. Suicide bombers. That's what I'm saying. They can't listen. The whole country. Where's the ballistic weapons? Where is the nuclear weapons? I'm just not convinced that they have the capability. I'm not convinced that they're even getting close to developing something like this. Because if they did, they would have already taken it out. And y'all got to remember, we left Iraq. And when we left Iraq, we left all of our equipment there. Iraq and Iran, they have joined forces together. They have definitely, they're joined forces and they're allies with each other. It's where there were two opposing forces. Therefore, they have, you got ISIS, and you got a lot of these other regimes that have already clipped up and joined forces. They've already together. They're looking for the destruction of the United States of America. They're looking for the destruction of the U.S. And that's what their main motive, focus, and drive is. If they can corrode it from the inside out, they're just going to be using another tactic that the United States has done to many countries, not just them, not just us here in the U.S., right? Because they have used those tactics against their own people as well, to corrode, to destroy from the inside out. So they're looking forward to doing the same, using the same tactics of trying to infiltrate and go from within out, right? You got a Muslim population that's growing pretty heavy. A lot of them govern under Sharia law, and it's just moving really heavy here in the U.S. They've already taken over the UK. Now, these Western cultures that Muslims have moved into are being engulfed. They're being revolutionarized, and they're being reconstructed under Sharia law, right? Which we know that law right there means that you're chopping off heads, you're cutting off hands, you're cutting off feet, right? And you're doing things that, of course, you for your sins you will be persecuted or taken out or eliminated. These are some of the things under Sharia law that takes place, right? You can't speak against them. If you speak against them, that could mean death. These are some of the things. You have no voice. It goes directly against our U.S. Constitution. So these are some of the things that are being infiltrated, not only here in the U.S., but it's it's already going on in the UK. The UK is heavily populated with individuals who are operating under the Sharia law, okay? So we got to understand, like, this war, yeah, it may be about oil and money and all this other stuff, right? And trying to get them to bend the knee and bow. But we still have a war machine that's looking to mobilize on the U.S. that comes directly from Iraq, Iran, ISIS, a lot of these different regimes who hate the U.S. and want to bring war to U.S. soil. We still got that going on. That ain't moved. And they're not in Iran because they want to stop that. They in Iran because they want, like it says here, Israel's attacking the oil storage. This is the reason why they're in Iran. They're not in Iran because they want to stop this war machine that's being formed over there in the Middle East to come bring war to the U.S. soil. They're not over there for that. They're over there for money, to be able to line their pockets, to be able to grow their wealth, their income, right? And for their oil, whatever it may be, they can be able to get this, this thing to bend in. And honestly, if you're smart, a lot of them will do so to buy time for the true attack that they're looking to have on U.S. soil, right? McDonald's and Wendy's use horse meat. Yeah, they use horse meat and human meat. They use human remains as well. That's why we got so many individuals who go missing and they're never to be found again. A lot of individuals, you ate them. That's the reason why you can't find them. I'm gonna go and grab that as well, y'all, because that's one thing for sure. That's one thing for sure that we need to know more about. And, it's only because the facts are the facts, right? But in these plants, in these meat processing plants that are of and for McDonald's, they are definitely discovering some things that honestly is pretty. Okay, it's pretty messed up, yo. It's pretty messed up. Let's go into it. I don't know if you guys heard about that or not, but if you haven't, I'm going to present this today, right? As to what's going on with our food system and why you got to be very careful as to what you're eating, man. I got it in my mind, like, man, I got to go home and eat. I got to make sure I know what's in my food, because these people do not care about what you're doing.
Is that
they only
winding down
care
at all?
about CYA. So if they got to get rid of somebody, they will do so. So yeah, we have Israel who recently attacked the oil reserves. Now let's move on here. This is what's going on in the world, y'all. This is what's going on in the world. We got to understand what these people are doing, because we know when times are getting rough, they're going to start feeding people to the population or to the populace. They're going to start doing that. They've already been doing that. Let's listen in as to what this has to say real quick. Let's listen in, y'all.
It is indeed, Jeff. Take a live look behind me. This is what's left of the FBI evidence recovery team inside this car. And take a look at this vehicle. We believe this is the owner of the business just returning to take back possession of his business. More on that in a second. But take a look. Another busy day out here on Detroit's east side, just down the road from City Airport. Sources say they have removed several boxes of what is believed to be human remains. Sources say many people. This was a big operation. And get this, inside this business, a saw used to cut up bodies, it is believed, all taken away as evidence to the Wayne County Medical Examiner's Office, where it will be tested. This business is known as International Biological. It advertised as a medical educational service provider. The owner is Art Rathburn. He has a mortician license, has had in Michigan since 1982. But the big question is, did he get human bodies illegally? And was he selling them illegally? Just moments ago, the owner, we believe, showed up. I tried to ask him some questions. Mr. Rathburn, will you talk with us? What do you have to hide, sir? Now, sources tell me the FBI is not out here on a fishing expedition. Mr. Rathburn is not charged with any crime. He is not in custody. They did search his house in Grosse Pointe Park on Wednesday as well. How could he get bodies that are not donated to science? This is shocking to the funeral home industry in Metro Detroit. We're going to have more on that part of this story next hour at 6. Jeff, Carolyn?
Well, Jim, obviously some extensive evidence gathering there. Are we just at the tip of the iceberg on this investigation, you think?
Could very well, and we're not clear on how long it's going to take to do the testing of what is believed human remains. But get this, you had a death in your family, you thought there was a burial or a cremation, and then you find out the body ended up here. Shocking, to say the least.
Certainly so. A lot of questions.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. People are coming up missing, of course. Yeah, we hear what's going on here in the U.S. It's not just against, listen, that's abroad. But my thing is that this is a meat processing plant for McDonald's. Who were they selling human remains to? And what were those human remains for? Now, we understand that people do organ harvesting, right? You can literally be somebody who is in good health, in great shape, and you have some minor complications, and they mark you down because you yourself put it on your application that you are an organ donor. They mark you down to harvest your organs, right? And that's just kind of what it is. This is how they do it. They'll take you in the back room real quick, especially if you ain't got no family. They'll do it in hospitals. That's why so many people do not want to go to a hospital. It's because of the simple fact that they may not come out alive. Now, I want to take a look at this guy from McDonald's here real quick. Let's take a look at the CEO.
This is something that we have tested already.
I know that a lot of you already seen this, but now after witnessing a meat processing plant that is for McDonald's itself, now we get to see, I believe that he's been put up to having to do this task. And honestly, they probably forced him to do it. He probably didn't agree to do this at all. But let's take a look as to how he behaved and how he acts in regards to this new burger that they're launching, in which nobody should buy. Let's continue. Let's go.
You've got it. Here it is.
Look at this, y'all. The big
This is
arch.
something that we have tested already in Portugal, Germany, Canada. I love this product.
He
It
loves
is so
it.
good. I'm going to do a tasting right now, but I'm going to eat this for my lunch, just so you know. So here we go.
Yeah, eat it,
First,
bro.
holy cow. God, that is a big burger.
Holy
We've
cow.
got a very
Makes you think it's a
unique
cow. We
kind
know
of
it ain't no cow in
sesame
there.
poppy sort of bun on it.
Looks disgusting.
We've got 2 quarter-pound patties, a delicious Big Arch
Eat it.
sauce, and of course
Eat it,
some
bro.
lettuce. So, there's so much going on with this. First of all, let's try to get this thing. I don't even know how to attack it. Got so much to it. Oh, there's also some crispy onions on here as well. I see those kind of coming out. All right.
Eat it.
Moment of
Hannibal
truth.
Lecter. Ah! Yuck!
That is so good.
Ah!
That's a big bite for Big Arch. It's distinctively McDonald's.
Trifling, bro.
My thing is that was the smallest bite, and I believe that he moved some of the meat out the way in order to get to the bun mostly. You understand what I'm saying? Because he already understands what's in this burger meat. He understands what's in the burger meat. He understands how that would affect not only his health but his body. He's trying to avoid having to eat this particular meat. You understand what I'm saying? So let's finish this thing out real quick.
McDonald's could do this type of burger, but it also is unlike anything else on our menu. It's
Don't eat
delicious
McDonald's. I don't
product.
care what this
Got
man
sort of
says,
cheeses
dude.
and the gooiness, but those crispy
Trying to make
onions
you
as well
think that
gives
they
a
don't
nice
put in
texture. And of
the
course,
meat
we've got
what we
the
know they
pickles.
put in the meat. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to enjoy the rest of my lunch, but Big Arch,
Trifling, bro.
you've got it. Here it is.
I'm trying to tell you now. And this is an obvious one. Somebody said do the Burger King one. What's going on with Burger King? Burger King CEO taste. So is this the one you're talking about?
Not bad, right?
Only one thing missing. A napkin.
Not bad, right?
Only one thing missing.
That, boy.
A napkin.
That's a real bite. Yeah, that is a real bite. Real bite, real enjoyment. Bro took a tiny little bun bite and then tried to sell that to y'all like he was actually eating that mess. I promise you now, we just seen it in the meat packing plant. They have human remains, and this is designated for McDonald's. So y'all pulling up to get these Happy Meals, and y'all getting these cheeseburgers. You don't even know what's in them cheeseburgers. You don't know what you feed to your child. You have no clue. They're not going to tell you. Do you think they're going to come out and just say it? They've already done tests on it. 20%. The test that they ran, those burgers were 20% human. 20% human DNA was found in the burgers that they ran tests on. You don't think that they'll mix it in there with a little bit of something else in order for them to be able to grind down? They'll just throw it all in there all at once. Human remains, burger filler, everything else, all of that's going to go in all at one time. They're not going to care about what's going on with that. They're just going to toss it all in. But it's another way to get rid of the remains after they've done the processing, the organ harvesting, all that other stuff. You got pieces of this particular body, a human body, that honestly they don't know what else to do with. How do you dispose of that many individuals? How do you dispose of so many people all at once? How do you get these people to disappear after you're done harvesting their organs? You got to do something with them. They're not dumping them in trash pits. They're not doing anything else. Like, how are all these people coming up missing and nobody, and they're not to be found, right? So that's one of the biggest things, y'all. They're being dumped into these processing plants, these meat processing plants, and being grinded up like beef, like it is beef when it's not.
An apparent fast food feud is going viral. It all started when McDonald's CEO posted an Instagram video of him taste testing the new Big Arch burger, some saying he wasn't enthusiastic enough.
The moment of truth. That is so good.
Now, Burger King posting a TikTok of its own, the company's president taking a big bite of the Whopper.
Only one thing missing. A napkin.
The internet exploding, saying it was a clap back. Burger King tells NBC News that the chain's video wasn't created in reaction to anything and that it was part of an ongoing effort to spotlight the recent, quote, elevated Whopper. An apparent fast food feud is going viral. It all started when McDonald's...
So you see the difference between the two. The brother took a bite of the bun. He didn't want to take a bite of the meat. You understand what I'm saying? And I believe that a lot of times they have to do this. We all know that McDonald's was a part of the Epstein files. They made the list. Obviously, McDonald's has some sort of part to play when it comes to trafficking, the little ones and things like that, right? They have a huge part to play in that, but also they have a huge part to play in getting rid of them. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to know that 110%. They played major parts in how this is developed. They played major parts. McDonald's does. So when we're taking a look at what took place, not only with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when they took office, they opened up the borders completely and totally. We understand, and I've talked about this already before, that when they opened up the borders, it made it easier for them to traffic. So that's the reason why the borders were wide open, not only for drugs, but also for trafficking purposes. It wasn't because they wanted the country to be free and welcoming to everyone. That's not the reason why they opened the borders, y'all. We can't be so naive and so dumbed down to believe that these people opened up all these borders to allow individuals into this country that are undesirable, that shouldn't be here, right? Like, of course, you got, the Mexican cartel, you got the cartel that's coming in and out of the country, but these also are trafficking mules. You understand what I'm saying? So in order to move these particular things in and out of the country, drugs, human trafficking, things like that, in order to do it easier, open the borders, provide no pushback, open them up so we can be able to do so. And then, so this is a part that plays in this as well. Because human sacrificing is a huge part that they do when it comes to ritualistic things. They perform rituals in order to gain power, success, authority, but they need a lot of times a sacrifice. A lot of times it has a lot to do with your willingness to conform to a level of sin that you shouldn't, right? And then that is you providing an offering, providing a sacrifice for demonic spirits to be able to inhabit you or your world. But same thing with these particular individuals who are in positions and powers of leadership here in the U.S. They also need a form of sacrifice, human sacrifice, whatever it may be. They need that in order to propel, to move forward, to acquire these high positions of authority, right? That's what's needed. There's nothing else other than that. That is what's needed, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? What's happening to people that disappear straight away in those other cults? Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things, right? When these individuals, I've heard that some people have went missing. How true is it, right? That they went missing from Straightway itself, from these particular cults itself? It could be very true. Only people who can really confirm or deny that are people who've been there for long enough, who actually who witness a lot of this, a lot of these atrocities. They can confirm that. They can deny it, whatever it may be, right? Right? Let's get to the war in Iran. And that's what I'm saying, though. This is day 9.
Of the Iran war. Here are the key things that have been happening across the Middle East today. Huge fires have been seen across the Iranian capital, Tehran, after the Israeli Defense Forces said that they struck several fuel storage complexes, including oil depots and a refinery. Residents in Tehran said the skies turned grey and it is raining oil. 4 were killed in the overnight strikes, according to the Iranian state television. Meanwhile, on day 9, Iran's...
Now, they did the same thing before when there was the war in Iraq. They attacked the oil rigs. They attacked the oil reserves, burned them to hell, right? Had our troops fighting in deserts filled with oil all over the place because it was raining oil. Same thing, same situation here in Iran, attacking the oil storage, attacking the oil reserves, coming full frontal attack on the thing that is most valuable to that particular country. And this is, like you said, bigger than oil. This is much bigger than oil. They're trying to get Iran to conform, to bend the knee. So once they do launch their new world currency, they would have to have world order in order for that currency to be properly and effectively launched, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? They need everybody in proper alignment. Israel is the one who's driving that machine. You got to know that Israel is calling the shots regardless, 110%. You got some of these politicians that sold out and they don't even receive $1 from Israel, from Zionists. You got some people who are sold out and they don't receive $1 from Zionists, but they're also sold out and they're committed. They're committed because they are being paid hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from the Zionist movement of AIPAC, from IPAC. So this is the reason why they're moving this machine the way that it is. They're moving it in Iran the way that it is, and destroying and trying to cripple Iran and bring them down, to make them bend the knee because they want to launch that world currency. If they don't make this happen soon, China will take over and it will be a global power in currency. They will take over and then their currency will be a global power. Meaning the U.S. will no longer hold power. They will no longer, because China's already #1 in industrial goods. They're already #1. China, in fact, has Africa feeling some kind of way when it comes to the U.S. Africa now is bold and talking to the U.S., letting them know that they don't need them no more because they got China over here backing them up, giving them what they need so they can develop their cities and their countries, right? China is a heavy player that's moving pretty hard and they want to take over global dominance, but the U.S. is still trying to maintain that control when it comes to our financial reserves. They're not going to let them do it. They're going to do the best they can to keep them from doing it, right? All that he didn't eat the meat. Yeah, he ain't eat none of that meat. His mama Clay, yeah, that's right. Russia and China have future plans against U.S. Yes, right. They have huge militaries and huge minerals, but all that means nothing if they can't use their machines because they don't have oil. Yeah, absolutely. Because if they don't have oil, they can't move. They can't move forward without those things. And so Iran is a huge supplier of that oil, of those oil reserves. To bring Iran to its knees would mean to stop all forward progress of dominance globally for these particular entities. Okay? Chess, not checkers. Yeah, they're attacking that. That's an absolute point. Great point, Mass Man. Did you also see the videos about the land of Israel being turned into a fireworks show? People are rebelling it by claiming the videos are fake. They were rebelling by claiming the videos are fake. I haven't seen that just yet. No, sir. Iran was giving China 74% of their oil on the low. Okay. Sanctioned oil, Russia 56%. Yeah, so they've entered into an agreement through BRICS. They've entered into an agreement. They have aligned themselves not only with China but also Russia, two of the major players that do not rock with U.S. at all. Westernized countries, they don't rock. They don't like you. You understand what I'm saying? They don't like you. They're not friendly with you. And Iran is backing those particular countries who do not support the United States. And they have been doing so for a long time now. Since they've been revolutionarized, since the Iranian people have been put in the position that they're in currently since 1979, they have not done anything to fool with the United States. Anybody who opposes the United States, that's who they support, 110%. Now, like the masked man is saying, attacking the oil storage and oil reserves, crippling the machine, bringing the machine down to its knees. They're trying to get them to submit. They're trying to get them to submit. So if they can do that by attacking something that is so precious as oil, then they'll do so just like that. Trump wants all the oil, gold and silver. The only thing that matters. That's right. Because these are tangible assets. These are assets that are needed to keep and sustain the economy and a country altogether. Ballistics and nuclear talk is for the media, but the real reason is stopping China and Russians' future plans. That's right. China and Russia got a huge part to play in a lot of this. And eventually, of course, they're going to want to get involved because their industrial means has a lot to do with oil reserves. They're going to have to defend something. They're going to have to defend their position at some point because if Iran is being attacked so heavily to destroy the main source of energy and power, right, for these particular countries, Iran or China and Russia, then China and Russia is going to have to join this conflict. And that's the reason why there's talks of a World War III, right? Ushering in Armageddon. You understand what I'm saying? That's the reason why it talks about that, because I don't believe that China and Russia is going to take this very well. I don't believe that they're going to like this very much, right? I don't believe they're going to like it very much. And I don't believe that the United States can read the room and know that the U.S. people, the United States, the people, the citizens, we're not all about them. We're not all about what they have to say. We're about what makes sense and what's right, right? A lot of us. That's the reason why a lot of us don't listen to mainstream media, because we're about what makes sense and what is the right thing to do. We're not going to just jump on a bandwagon because you want to have global dominance, right? And we get to show off our weapons yet again on the world stage. Money, absolutely. This is a money-making machine. Trillions of dollars going into this war already, and they just begun. You understand what I'm saying? We got so much money going into it already. Let everyone know that don't want to FAFO. Right. Remember, they all sit at the table. It's all, yeah. It's all orchestrated and spiritually warfare matters a lot into the, yeah, that's right. That's right. And they all are at the same table. And they all do. But, you know, we got to understand that there's still opposing forces. There's still opposing forces that's going to create the atmosphere to where nothing's at peace, right? So they got to create the tyranny, the destruction, the mayhem. So you can sign up for this beast system. So this one world government, for this one world system that the United States wants to be in full control over. They want to be in full control over the new world order. That's what they want to be control over. And this is what we're dealing with, is a new world order. They want to be full control of this. They want to be at the helm. They want to be leading the charge in this, right? And creating this new world order. And you would have to conform to sign up to this particular way of life. And this is what they will want. This is what they will want. Nothing more, nothing less. Right? Let's continue.
Assembly of Experts says that it has named a new supreme leader, although they haven't revealed their identity yet. In Kuwait, flames engulfed a government office block after a wave of Iranian drones targeted the country's critical infrastructure. Authorities say that 2 officers have been killed in the latest strikes. In Lebanon, at least 12 people have been killed after further Israeli strikes, including on a hotel in Beirut. Israel says it's targeting Iranian-linked commanders in the city. China's foreign minister has warned that the unrest in the Middle East doesn't bring any benefit to anyone and shouldn't have happened.
这是一场本不应该发生的战争，也是一场对各方都没有好处的战争。
And Russia has expressed support for Iran, claiming that they are not neutral in the Iran war.
Not neutral. No, we are neutral. We are supportive to Iran.
And the blame game continues between the United States and
Y'all
Iran.
hear that? Y'all hear that? We're not neutral in this war. We support Iran. They support Iran. If Russia supports Iran, they're going to do what it takes to support them, to help them. You understand? They're going to feed them what they need. They're going to give them the necessary military might. They're going to do what they need to do. Same thing when it comes to China. China is going to side with Russia and Iran. But they're currently saying that this does not benefit anyone for you guys to be at war with Iran, because you don't make make no mistake. Israel and the U.S. are the ones who launched the first missile attack, the first missile strike. You understand what I'm saying? This was a joint effort between the two. So if this war makes no sense, then who started the war? U.S. and Israel, right? They started the war. I see if Iran started the war, then I would understand what China is saying when it comes to, oh, it doesn't benefit nobody. They're talking about Iran starting a war with the U.S., right? And with Israel. No, they're saying that this war benefits no one, right? In regards to whose efforts, Israel in the U.S. So we know what 2 major players, just as the masked man was dropping in the chat room here, and just as I've been saying, that they are going to back up Iran. The money that's coming in from the oil reserves, 76% is going over to China, 56% is going to Russia, and that oil reserves are what they use to power what they need to power in their cities and with their war machine, whatever it may be. So that is going to drastically affect their economy. It's going to drastically affect the gas prices. It's going to drastically affect how they're able to mobilize. And then this is what is truly being spoken about. That's a problem. That's a problem for anybody, to tell the truth, right? That's a problem for any of us. So we're getting into a battle, a war, not only with Israel, but also Israel and here in the U.S. We're going up against Iran. Potentially who may join this fight is Russia and China, right? Who knows? After the recent events that unfolded, who knows if they're going to call a player like Africa in the play to join the fight in a world war? Who knows? if that's going to be a thing. Who knows that in recent events, they had French leadership in the U.S., right? Not only French leadership, but leadership from Britain and other parts of the world here in the United States, speaking with Trump, having dinner with Trump, not only with Trump, but also with Mark Zuckerberg, other world leaders here in the U.S., sitting down with a sit down, right? It's possible understanding here that they're going to war. That's sign number one that we should have noticed and realized, is that when world leaders were making a visit, people from France, people from Britain, things like that, making a visit and having a sit down, they're looking to form alliances, right? So if something were to happen and they need to rely on France, so they need to rely on someone for this particular war, then they would have an alliance with these individuals, right? They're on the same page because they're going up against an Iran and a Russia and a China who could possibly or potentially bring in Africa, right? Who can potentially bring in others, then this is going to be a real issue. This is going to be a real problem. And it's a possibility. Listen, listen, the U.S., we lost a pretty bad fight over in Vietnam. Okay, Vietnam, there's no way that we won that war. Iraq, look how many years we were over in Iraq. How much did we accomplish after over a decade in spending time in Iraq? How much did we accomplish? We didn't accomplish anything. We literally was just sitting there doing nothing. Literally. There was no reason for us to be there. We weren't very successful in Iraq. So we're dealing with a player like Iran, who has Iraq, China, Russia, possible world war. Are we going to win this war? Are we going to win this battle? Or are we just going to sacrifice men and women for no reason? And that sanctioned oil, black market oil. Iran's oil is easily refined too. Come on now. Russia and China, America can't win. Yeah, this is going to be like when it comes to this, right? Russia, China, who else are they going to get involved that they're aligned with, that they're alliances with, that they have allegiance to, right? Okay, and like I said before, a lot of this, okay, a lot of this, and let me show y'all my screen real quick. We're gonna see exactly what type of problem that the U.S. is creating along with Israel, okay, because they're creating some real issues, and are they prepared to fight this particular war? And then that's what I'm saying. Let's share this up real quick. Let me share this up. Are they prepared to fight this particular war? Right? Okay, let's take a look. Who does Iran's allies from a network known as Axis and Resistance? Okay, obviously you know why they call it that. Comprising state and non-state actors in the Middle East, primarily Hezbollah, Lebanon. Okay, so and key Middle Eastern allies is going to be Hezbollah, is going to be a lot of these militaries, Iraqi militaries, Palestinian military groups. So my thing is that Syria, Palestinian, we just seen the war, not only with Israel, but we called a ceasefire, right? For Israel and Palestine. We called a ceasefire for them to move forward and go and attack Iran, another one of Palestine's allies. And so Palestine put up a hell of a fight. Palestine fought back. Let's just say that, right? Palestine did fight back. Syria joined that fight as well. Iran also had something to do with that fight as well. They all took place in that particular fight. But you have these players who are going to also protect and defend one another in the Middle East. Globally, we have Russia and China, right? China. acts as an economic lifeline by purchasing Iranian oil, defying U.S. what sanctions, defying U.S. sanctions, and this is all part of the plan here of trying to get the world to conform to that one world currency, right? Because Iran ain't trying to hear it. They're not trying to hear it. It defies this. It defies the sanctions. They don't care about the sanctions, right? Provides intelligence, military, and what? Diplomacy. Okay, diplomatic cooperation. Okay, so Russia is a huge player, and we already just heard that Russia is 100% against this war, and they are not biased. They are not neutral. They're 100% in backing Iran. Okay, another power when it comes to a lot of resources. Okay, especially gold or oil, especially oil. Okay. So as we taking a look at a lot of these things, we got some major players who will fight a good fight. Whereas we're dealing with people who obviously aren't really. That's why they got to form their alliances with other individuals, right? We all know, according to Revelations, a world war is coming. Absolutely. Now, is this what we have in Brink? Is this what we have? Are we looking at? Are we looking at the Revelation level of a world war? You understand, where it be wars and rumors of wars, but this particular war is going to be an army that's formed, a large one, right? Is this the world war that we're currently looking at? Are we looking at the next world war? Russia, China, of course, America can win. We can take them both right now. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm hearing it. I'm hearing that we can put up a good fight, but I believe that we struggled in Iraq. We struggled hard in Iraq over a decade. Don't get me wrong. We made a difference, but we struggled. We struggled for sure. We lost in Vietnam. For sure, we lost that. We lost that for sure. They have to come up with something to give up so they can stay rich and powerful. These wars that destroy infrastructures and nations are the revenue they pay for what the devil gave them. That's right. That's right. Why do you think Trump was in Mideast shaking hands with the Gulf nations, making deals? Now they're all with us against Iran. Chess, not checkers. Okay, so he was over in the Middle East shaking hands with them. Right. You might have a point there, but I'll have to do more research on that. Right? Because he was over there in the Middle East doing his thing. Let's keep it a buck. But he definitely was over there, not only in the Middle East, but of course he was meeting with quite a few world leaders. Right? China and Russia was also getting Venezuelan sanctioned oil on the cheap. Yeah, Trump is putting a stop to all that. Oh, and Iran makes Russians drones, so that will help with the Ukraine war as well, in terms of it coming to an end, right? 10D chess. Well, yeah. They making some moves. They making big time moves. But they're also making moves when it comes to this world currency. They want to definitely dominate globally, continuously, right? And they do not want to come down from that. So that's one thing that we got to take a look at as well. Huge thing that we got to take a look at, right? I want to see what okay, so NATO, North Atlantic, and yeah, we got plenty of different allies here, of course, NATO and the Pacific Ocean. Okay, Europe and North America, Australia, New Zealand. This is going to really be pulling in a lot of heavy players. You got Israel, you got Egypt, you got Israel, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and recent additions like Kuwait. Okay, the Rearms Treaty, 1947. U.S. power went against rising threats like China, Russia, and North Korea. Of course, North Korea has also been a major player with China and Russia as well, right? North Korea. So this will be quite the fight. Let's keep it a buck. This will be quite the fight. The world currency will still switch to stable coin, cryptocurrency, and the U.S. will use it to cancel our debt. Absolutely. And they definitely going to do that. That's what they're seeking to do because they have to pay it up to the international banks. They just want to cancel it out. America can never win. Russia and China got more nukes and billions of people. It's going to be a hell of a fight. America is doomed. Didn't move. LOL. Good luck. North Korea is untested. When you research them, their weapons, ships, etc., fail during testing. LOL. So North Korea wouldn't be prepared. They're disciplined people, but they necessarily don't have the right equipment to be able to go into a full-blown war like this. Russia can't even take Ukraine. And that's kind of true. Let's keep it real. Russia is struggling with Ukraine right now. They have been struggling with Ukraine. Little bitty ass Ukraine has been putting up a valid fight against Russia. Russia is a large country with a lot of countrymen, and no disrespect to you Russians out there, a lot of countrymen, and it's been a difficult situation for them. Now that's just one thing, you know. I don't wish for them to be at war, especially if it's something that just doesn't make sense. But they are struggling. So let's keep it real. Let's keep it real. They did struggle. Iran war. What satellite images reveal after 1 week or after week 1? All right. What satellite images reveal after week 1? Let's take a look at this real quick, y'all.
Part of Iran's furious response to an Israeli-American campaign that decimated its leadership. At least 9 U.S. military positions have been hit in less than 48 hours. These are relatively close targets. They're much nearer to Iran than its usual target, Israel. That proximity may give Iran's missiles and drones a better chance of hitting their targets. This is the port of Shuaibah, where just after 9 a.m. on Sunday morning, an Iranian strike set a makeshift U.S. operations center at the civilian port ablaze. 6 American service members were killed in the attack. You can see smoke rising from the fire. The blown-out 3-wide trailer blackened on the inside. There are few signs of fortification. In another attack, a drone, this appears to be the Arash-2, crashes into U.S. positions in Camp Buring. A building severely damaged. American helicopters parked inside the base were nearly hit. In Bahrain, a Shahid attack drone flies into the base that hosts the U.S. Navy's 5th Fleet, one of the largest American naval formations in the world. It looks alarmingly defenseless. The drone hits one satellite communication terminal, clearly seen here. But the scale of the damage is more obvious here, warehouses and other buildings damaged, and another satellite communication terminal destroyed in a separate attack. We see this pattern of targeting throughout the region. At least 5 satellite communication terminals were destroyed. It points to a possible Iranian effort to cut US bases off from the outside world. Iran used an unprecedented barrage of missiles and drones. US Patriot missiles and other multi-billion-dollar air defense systems shot most of these out of the sky. But the ones that got through were enough to puncture the veil of security around oil-rich Gulf Arab states and the heart of America's security infrastructure in the Middle East.
We have obtained incredible new satellite imagery, and this is really important. It does show extensive damage at military bases across Iran, as you might expect, but that is what it shows. Now, we're using these images to piece together how the United States managed to kill the country's supreme leader and so many around him that they after they thought dark was light, darkness was done, they're going to have this meeting. And was taken out. The U.S., we understand, had secretly been trailing him with intelligence for months. Katie Polglaze is out front with this incredible report.
With Iran very much still under attack, we've been using videos and satellite images like this one of the strike on the Supreme Leader's office to analyze how the senior leadership was dismantled by US and Israeli strikes and where exactly they've hit.
We now know from US and Israeli sources that the CIA, along with Israeli intelligence, had been tracking Iran's senior leadership for months. Then came intelligence about a perfect opportunity to strike in broad daylight when many of Iran's top officials would be in the same place at once.
And that place was here, the leadership house and the hub of Iran's power. It's also the office of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, now confirmed dead. It's in a very old, traditional Tehran neighborhood, surrounded by government offices, scientific institutions, and museums. Khamenei was known to not leave this compound much. He was seen here in this video just last week, addressing crowds at a mosque. The Israelis say they hit 3 sites on the compound simultaneously. We found several locations that have damage. You can see a central building completely flattened. You can also see 2 craters here. This one appeared to have been targeting an underground structure, according to a former US Special Operations Tactical Advisor, Wes Bryant. Over here, you can see crowds and emergency and construction vehicles. But this wasn't the only location hit. The Intelligence Ministry headquarters was also up in smoke yesterday. And then there's this strike, right outside the house of former Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. He has today been reported dead by some Iranian outlets. CNN has not been able to confirm his death. Ali Shamkhani, a senior advisor to the Supreme Leader, has also been reported dead by the Iranian authorities. He narrowly escaped death last June when Israel struck his home in this precise targeting of a top-floor apartment. Almost miraculously, he emerged from the rubble days later. This time, he was not so lucky. But others have been. The Iranian foreign minister here, Abbas Araghchi, was away in Geneva this week. The Oman Foreign Ministry posted this picture of him meeting his counterpart just 4 days ago. That trip may have saved his life. But Iran is very much still under attack. This IDF footage from Sunday morning shows a strike on the headquarters of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the notoriously brutal elite wing of Iran's military. What happens next remains to be seen, but Iran is aggressively fighting back, striking multiple US allies across the Middle East, including the United Arab Emirates, fires visible here over Dubai's port area, alongside Kuwait, Qatar, and Bahrain.
All right, I want to go to retired Army Major General Spider Marks now out front, head of the geopolitical intelligence at Academy Securities. And, you know, when you look at Katie's reporting, it's just incredible, the detail, and to look at that. Khamenei rarely left the compound where he was ultimately killed. Okay, so in a sense, as she reports, that was common knowledge, right? But the reason that they did this when they did it, we understand, is because all of the senior leadership came in here. I mean, there was probably no bigger, you know, one strike to take out all that could have existed than this one. And it should have been pretty obvious that such a thing could have happened, I guess, in retrospect. I mean, what do you think, Spider? Was there any sign that this was coming to the Iranians? They obviously did not think they had been penetrated.
Totally surprised. I think it's a combination, really speculation on my part, but I think it's a combination of hubris on their part and the notion that they had been in negotiations with the administration over the course of several weeks, and reports at the end of last week indicated that progress had been made. In other words, they probably understood that they were now negotiating themselves into a position where there might be a delay on the part of the administration, that they were favorably aligned in some particular areas. And so who knows? It's absolutely baffling that they would do that, right? But also you have to understand that someone who doesn't leave the compound for weeks on end probably is not surprising. We saw that with Osama bin Laden, although he never left that thing for the longest time. But he also isolated himself, and he kept it very clear that his support network was as probably well trained as they could be to obfuscate their kind of connectivity. In this case, bringing 40 plus leaders to see the boss, very bad idea. But
so here's the thing, y'all. Trump has been saying that he would attack like this since his last term that he was in office. That instead of sending troops, he would definitely order an airstrike and just bomb the hell out of people. And he's been saying that he would do stuff like this, y'all. So for it to actually start to take place, we see now that Trump is enacting exactly what he said he would do. Rather than sending in troops, he would prefer to bomb the hell out of you in order to get you to conform. Let's continue.
Again, I think it's probably those two factors that probably played into it. They probably thought they had more time, and technical talks were going to take place in Vienna on Monday. Obviously, those are off the table, of course.
Yeah, so it was a false sense of security.
And on the deadliest scenes of war.
Now, when we're reviewing this, I just want us to see exactly what they've been doing. Don't listen to what these people are telling you, of course, because ain't no telling what they're lying or telling the truth about. They're going to mix the two together, and they're going to leave out a lot of information for you. But we know for sure that he has bombed multiple locations, right? That multiple locations has been, bombed. Multiple airstrikes have been ordered in regards to leadership within Iran, and also oil reserves or those resources being destroyed. And so far, these have been the tactics. Okay. And before, there was a buildup. When you start seeing somebody making their rounds and meeting with other countries and dictators and leaders within other countries, they're trying to form those alliances because they're looking to seek and go to war potentially, right? They need to form alliances appropriately because they may not have another chance or another choice but to take it to battle, right? Let's continue.
CNN is among news outlets reporting it may have been a strike from the United States that hit an elementary school in southern Iran, killing some 168 grade school students and 14 teachers. The investigation is ongoing. CNN's Isabel Young has an early CNN analysis.
Nearly a week after a strike killed scores of students in Iran's Minab, it seems more and more likely that the US was responsible. A new satellite image shows an Iranian Revolutionary Guards base and an elementary school in southern Iran. Here you see craters in several of the buildings, including the school. They were hit in their exact centers, suggesting precision strikes, experts say. A wall separates the school and the base. Satellite images from December show dozens of people in what appears to be a handball court at the school. Reuters now reports that US military investigators believe US forces were responsible, though they haven't yet reached a final conclusion.
It paints a picture of multiple simultaneous or near simultaneous strikes. And it looks like these were delivered with explosive munitions, probably air delivered. I think the most likely scenario in this case is that it's a US or Israeli airstrike gone awry. It's probably a targeting failure somewhere in the targeting cycle, an intelligence failure.
The Israeli military say they weren't operating in the area.
To date, we've hit over 2,000 targets.
American military officials say they carried out extensive strikes in this area and released this map showing strikes in southern Iran. The base and the school in Minab are located here.
We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
The damage we've seen to the building is quite significant, and it's unlikely it was something like an air defense missile fired by the Iranians, for example.
When we try to assess who is responsible for airstrikes, we typically try to examine the weaponry fragments left behind. But in this instance, there's an internet blackout in Iran. It's been really difficult to obtain that. And so this investigation is still not conclusive.
Nick, you've been taking a closer look at some of the satellite images of destruction in Tehran. What are you finding?
Yeah, it's important to remind people of some of the images we've seen emerging from Tehran. A lot of devastation, smoke over the skyline, and giving you a sense, I think, of obviously civilians caught at times in parts of this, but also too at moments some of the buildings that have been particularly targeted by Israeli and US airstrikes. Some of the satellite images here, I can't see the ones you're showing one by one, Jake, but we're seeing images amongst these of Iran's Ministry of Intelligence, the Islamic Revolutionary Court, the IRGC's Tar Allah headquarters, and even some damage sustained to a hospital when they seem to be targeting a communications tower outside a judiciary complex as well. It's important also to remind viewers that just today, the assembly of experts appear to have met in Qom to try and find a new supreme leader for Iran after the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. And there are some indications that this process may be moving forwards quite quickly. But that building in Qom was hit by an Israeli airstrike. Now, there are suggestions in Iranian state media that, in fact, that building may have been evacuated. In fact, there's more reporting suggesting they may have tried to have put those 88 senior clerics together to make this decision through virtual means. After all, it is 2026.
A city under attack. It's also home to millions of people. The US and Israeli bombing campaign of Tehran has been targeting intelligence complexes, police stations, and state broadcasters, but we verified videos and analysed satellite imagery and found the impact is going beyond that, due to the densely packed nature of the city and the large-scale weapons involved. Take a look at this satellite image. This crater is at least 40 foot wide. That means it was likely caused by a 2,000-pound bomb. The target, Iran's state broadcaster, the IRIB. The strike wiped out its communications mast. These bombs used by both the US and Israel are capable of killing or wounding people more than 1,000 feet away. And just 100 feet away is the Gandhi Hospital, one of the biggest in Tehran. Glass shattered, walls collapsed, and patients, including babies, being rushed out.
As more videos like this one began to emerge, we started verifying them, pinpointing the hospital where each one was filmed. Then we cross-referenced with satellite imagery to see the damage caused by US and Israeli strikes.
Like here, you can see the blown-out windows of the Gandhi Hospital from space. Over in another central part of Tehran is the Motahari Hospital. And just behind it is the Iranian police headquarters. In fact, you can see a police helicopter pad down here. This image is from just before it was struck, and this is after. Entire buildings flattened. The Motahari Hospital is still standing, but we verified this video showing substantial damage inside. It's not the only hospital in the area affected. Over here is the Khatam Hospital. Glass windows shattered, and medical staff are seen running out. Further down the same street is the Iranian Red Crescent Society. Smoke billowing from behind the building. Again, people are fleeing. Across Iran as a whole, more incidents like these are emerging. We geolocated this video to the Persian Gulf Hospital in the city of Beshahar. You can see newborn babies being carried out amid the rubble. It's unclear what the target was, but it's close to an airport and military airbase. But it's not just hospitals. Other civilian sites are also bearing the brunt of these strikes. This school in southern Iran was directly hit, resulting in the deaths of over 160 students and staff, according to Iranian state media. Neither the US nor Israel have acknowledged they caused the strike. It was just 200 feet from an Iranian military base. You can see multiple of their buildings hit, as well as damage to the school. Another strike hit this gym in Fars, southern Iran. There were reportedly 20 volleyball players inside at the time, Iranian media said. It was also right next to a police station. As strikes continue, access to safe medical facilities will be crucial, but the civilian toll is mounting. The human rights activist news agency now reporting over 1,000 dead. Katie Poglaze, CNN, London.
All right, can I ask you about the nuclear targets? Obviously, that was the entire focus of the operation last summer, in which the United States said that Iran's nuclear program had been obliterated. Some of the satellite images that I saw the other day, I guess maybe 36 hours ago, Colonel, from Natanz, for example, post what they said were strikes, looked like nothing had been hit at all. It was very hard to tell. Are you actually seeing targeting of Iranian nuclear sites this time?
So that's a really interesting question. When you look at some of the imagery that we have right here, this is of Natanz. There is some damage to this particular area in this area, but the problem that you have is it doesn't seem to cover a lot of the other buildings that are part of that nuclear facility. So that's Natanz. There are other elements here, for example, at the Fordo site and at Esfahan, where there has been some damage to this, but we really don't have a good handle on whether or not they've actually been able to create major damage. Now, the one thing to keep in mind, Aaron, is that the B-2 bombers that were flying during the June attacks have maybe been flying just a little bit during this.
Sources tell
So Russia is helping Iran target U.S. military sources. Let's check this out here.
Tell CNN that Russia is aiding Iran's war effort by providing intel on U.S. military targets. When President Trump was asked about this, here's how he reacted.
It sounds like the Russians are helping Iran target and attack Americans now.
That's an easy problem compared to what we're doing here. I mean, but can I be honest? It's just, I have a lot of respect for you. You've always been very nice to me. What a stupid question that is to be asking at this time. We're talking about something else.
CNN's Gabe Cohen is following on.
Man, you know you got to get the real context of that conversation. But honestly, you know, the thoughts of Russia helping in Iran's efforts, right? And trying to help them with, of course, launch an attack on U.S. targets. It's a no-brainer. Of course, they've taken that position. That's not something that's like a surprise. I think that we've all been talking about it on that. Listen, yes, Iran and Russia is definitely going to be 100% in agreement with each other in regards to what's going on and taking place. So, but let's continue.
All of this. And Gabe, tell us more about this reporting. Intel officials, I would assume, do not view this as a stupid issue. It is one that has a lot in the community concerned, especially given the fact that we don't know that there's a direct parallel in connection, but we have just lost 6 U.S. service members in this war days ago.
Well, Bianna, one of the reasons that this is really significant is because it's the first indication that Moscow is getting involved in this conflict. Those sources telling CNN that Russia is providing this intel about the location of American troops and assets.
AKA, this is the first signs that a potential World War III would be kicking off, right? These are the first signs of that being a thing, right? And I'm pretty sure that Trump didn't want to alarm the American people in regards to Russia's involvement as well as potentially China in the future. But honestly, kicking off a World War III is definitely something that we gotta really pay attention to, right? World War III being kicked off is biblical prophecy being played out. Now we know now, confirmed from sources, that of course Russia is going in. Right? So now we got Russia who's going to get involved in this thing. Man, listen, my thing is this, right? I really want you guys to let me know what you think about this whole situation in the comment section below, honestly. And let me know your thoughts. What do you guys think about this whole situation between Iran, Israel, and the United States? Honestly, tell you the truth, I don't think this is a pointless war, but honestly, the purpose of it is for a real purpose, and that we can't ignore the purpose. And maybe it definitely will have ties, and it possibly has ties to revelations in biblical prophecy. Understanding that this war is inevitable is something that is so key to realize, right? Y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I really want to come to a particular topic that is definitely and most definitely a hot topic to cover. And it's a hot topic, hot news, whatever it is to cover this. Let's dive into All right, y'all. Let's dive into this thing. Now, my thing is this. You know, I think there's been actual signs of war, rituals that have already taken place in regards to war that maybe we have not really been paying attention to enough. I want us to take a look at this video here and do a quick reaction to it. Let me just let this thing play all the way through, and then we'll come back with real commentary on it. You know, it's what I'm thinking I want to do with you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. Now, 88 war, okay? Let's go ahead, 88 war. Hold on a sec, let me fix this. 88 war, okay? Rituals of the elite, okay? Of the elite, down the rabbit hole we go. Let's go ahead and take a listen. Now, this comes from Shadow.
Shall a trumpet be blown in the city, and the people not be afraid?
In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Are we dreaming? We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order. When we are successful, and we will be.
There's a ghost whose sole purpose is to swallow souls and to eat fear.
Our very freedom came under attack
It grows colder each year, so to be clear,
in a series of deliberate terrorist acts.
you know you're not supposed to be here. Go to sleep. Go to sleep.
The pictures of airplanes flying into buildings, fires burning, huge structures collapsing.
Go to sleep, dear. Go to sleep, dear.
Epstein had a painting in his home of George W. Bush sitting on the rug of the Oval Office with 2 paper airplanes and 2 collapsed Jenga towers, just in case anybody was wondering what could possibly be worse than what they've already revealed. So take a good look at this picture here. If you have not seen it, here you go. Jeffrey Epstein had this painting, okay? And here are the Jenga towers right here on the floor.
Right after 9/11, about 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the joint staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs, meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Epstein documents expose Ghislaine Maxwell being invited to become a member of the Shadow Commission of 9/11. Why would they ask her? And what connection does she even have to September 11th? Ghislaine Maxwell is not a politician, wasn't a politician at that point in time. She was basically a socialite who worked for her daddy's publishing company. Why would someone invite a socialite who's from the UK to be a part of a September 11 commission, shadow commission, where the membership list is secret?
Wait, there was a shadow commission? Do we know about that? I don't know about that. Did you guys know about that? And of all people in America, they were asking Ghislaine Maxwell to be on the shadow 9/11 commission? And who else was on this secret list that actually decided what was going to go in the 9/11 commission report?
The Shadow Commission that Ghislaine Maxwell was apparently invited to, whatever that is.
This is in the beginning of 2003, before the official 9/11 commission is put together. Any interest on the Shadow Commission on 9/11, the membership list is secret.
There's a ghost.
So he said to me, would you like to be on the Trilateral Commission? No. I was 30 years old, 32 years old. And I looked at the list of people, and it was Bill Clinton, former president of the United States, Paul Volcker, every great leader in America, the Asians, the Japanese.
Crafty counsel.
The Moderna and Pfizer vaccines both use this brand new technology
Before it all fell apart, you could feel it.
known as messenger RNA.
You could feel it.
I think the most important thing to know about living in the 21st century is that humans are now hackable animals.
We just don't know the long-term side effects of basically modifying people's DNA and RNA.
So there was this kid. He was an 80s baby. And he loved Saturday morning cartoons. He'd get a big bowl of colorful cereal and contently sit right in front of the television screen for hours. One of these mornings, he was watching Bugs Bunny. And seconds after the screen flashed to a commercial, he thought to himself, that's weird. The silly rabbit who won't get it through his head that tricks are for kids, he just put on a dress.
He put on the dress to trick the kids.
Go to sleep, dear. Silly rabbit. There's nothing to see here. You're just a kid. Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Now the signs and symbols in this commercial would have flew right over the young boy's head if it wasn't for the fact that a few seconds earlier, he had just watched Bugs Bunny deceive and seduce the gun-toting Elmer Fudd, Yosemite Sam.
Open your eyes.
And this strong-looking soldier with the red armband.
It seemed strange to him. Something was off. Even the way the Nazi soldier reverted back to traditional Viking or Aryan ceremonial garb in order to court the cross-dressing bunny seemed like a riddle, a puzzle.
What this young, impressionable kid didn't realize was that he was witnessing an ancient spell. Though he instinctively knew there was a deeper meaning behind the symbol of the androgynous rabbit, deceiving the strong man standing guard, he couldn't decipher the coded message. Then he heard a voice in his head saying, "There's no school today. Don't ruin your only real day off by thinking too hard. Just enjoy this children's programming. There's nothing to see here. There's nothing to see here.
The Bugs Bunny Show.
There's nothing to see. Nothing. There's nothing to see. Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see. Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here.
Besides, tomorrow's Easter Sunday, and you'll have to help your little sister find those pastel-colored eggs the Magic Bunny lays all over the church grounds.
The year was 1988. The same year Roger Rabbit came out. Fast forward to today, the effeminate rabbit versus the strongman invocation is everywhere. Though the Ishtar rabbit is ever present in Western society, this particular season is a season the occultists have dedicated to the strongman.
Just look at how they celebrated their Gregorian New Year 2026. For the first time, the Washington Monument was illuminated by light projections. Symbols of seed rush into the apex of the phallic obelisk, the insemination of the great Ishtar egg. This is high-level sex magic. But who is this strong man they are invoking?
It took place on Wednesday.
They often refer to him as the All-Father.
Wednesday morning. But the answer to one question eluded us. Which specific god did Hitler worship? There are entire books written on this, some saying he was a Christian, others say he was a pagan and worshipped a pantheon of gods. Well, it turns out that all we had to do was go back to the origins of the National Socialist movement to find our answer. He also straight up tells us which god they worshipped.
Ours is called the All-Father. But who is the All-Father?
You've seen his servants and devotees.
Wednesday.
They even had broadcast a passionate prayer to him prime time
Wednesday
before all the American people.
Father, all my life I've answered every call to honor, duty, to war. But now fate has given me something I never sought. A child, a life untouched by the storm. Lend me the strength of the All-Fathers, so that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her. Not as a warrior, but as warmth. To teach her not battle, but stillness. The kind I never knew. Please, Father, heed my words. Lend me the strength of the All-Fathers.
For decades, the predictive programming in preparation for this current season has been drilled into the subconscious minds of the American people. Hidden in plain sight, the 2019 satirical film Jojo Rabbit uncoincidentally embodies this end-time spell.
When you stand before the enemy and have to end his life, which of you will have the stomach to do this? Good. There is no room in Hitler's army for those that lack strength. We want hardened warriors, those that are prepared to kill at will. Can you do this?
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Johannes, can you kill?
Of course. I love killing.
Good. Come here. Don't be scared. Come on. Good. Kill it.
Huh?
Wring its neck and kill the rabbit. Or are you scared?
I'm not scared. I just...
Now.
Place both hands round its neck, and then one hard twist. He might scream, but we'll just use the boot to finish it off. Kill. 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 Kill.
Good shot. You are a coward, just like your father.
He's not a coward. He's fighting in Italy.
Really? But no one has heard from him in 2 years. He is a deserting coward.
He's scared. And so are you. You're as scared as a little rabbit.
Scared little rabbit. Maybe we should snap your neck too.
Jojo, the rabbit. Oh, Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit. Jojo Rabbit.
This is some poster art for the film.
I don't think I can do this.
Russ? Of course you can. The fact that this movie was directed by the same director that filmed Thor Ragnarok is significant.
Can't believe him.
Let's all remember that life imitates, or art imitates life. So in reality, it's imitating what's actually going on in the world too often. So yeah, a lot of the horror films that you see, a lot of them have already taken place in somebody's life. Really, in their natural world. And they are just shooting a movie based on somebody else's experience. And they'll make it seem like it's fiction, but it's not. Somebody actually went through that. That's how they shot the movie. So let's continue.
Come on, Elvis. Get up. Get up.
To reality, oh, there goes gravity, oh, there goes rabbit, it goes rabbit, choke. He's so mad, but he won't.
Get your fat ass up and fight.
The most dominant magicians in the West run the predictive programming here, and according to their spell, the rabbit always wins. This scene is from a Nicki Minaj music video. And this scene is also from a Nicki Minaj music video. Nikki is seemingly a walking contradiction. Who embodies both the rabbit and the Nazi. Her alter ego, Roman Zelensky, is a representation of the notorious Hollywood child predator, Roman Polanski. They chose Nikki, a symbol of MK Ultra, trauma-based multiple personality disorder, to disclose the ritualistic child sacrifice of the elite.
Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and kill them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their god. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
No, but I do have a good mirror.
The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?
Go to sleep, dear. Go to sleep. There's nothing to see here.
The rabbit and the strongman's spell run all through the Epstein files.
Go to sleep, dear. There's nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. In this sky.
So they aren't going to talk about this, but in the new Epstein files drop, Jeffrey Epstein was emailing Robert Trivers, who's an American biologist, and they were actively talking about pushing the transgender ideology on children as young as 3 years old. Here's the full email up here. It's very graphic. If you want to read it, you can, but it's pretty bad.
But let's get back to our 80s baby. Well, 38 years later, he's rooting for the Seahawks to win Super Bowl 60.
It's an 8 p.m. showdown this Sunday as Bad Bunny takes the official Super Bowl stage while Turning Point USA simultaneously kicks off its own patriotic halftime alternative.
Controversy over the Confederate flag hits home here in Connecticut tonight as a rock star known for flying that flag hits the stage in Hartford. Kid Rock is just wrapping up his show at the Xfinity Theater now.
Kid Rock, known for flying the Confederate flag as he sings his Southern Fried Rock, but with a move on in South Carolina to take it off the Capitol after the church shootings, should people be flying it in the parking lot of the Xfinity Theater?
Today, Bud Light facing some backlash over its partnership with a trans influencer.
This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
Take a look. There's a video posted by Kid Rock that has more than 1 million views, hundreds of comments praising him.
Let me say something to all of you and be as clear and concise as possible.
The Olsen twins. Why is every guy in America waiting for these chicks to turn 18? I mean, you know what I say? There's grass on the field. Play ball! Whether you're tuning into the global pop spectacle or the conservative counter.
That's ridiculous. That is tall telling right there. Play ball. Grass on the field, play ball. That's crazy.
Program. Both events are set to collide at exactly 8 p.m. Eastern.
He's rooting for the Seahawks to win Super Bowl 60. During Bad Bunny's halftime show performance, he decides to switch over to the alternative, Turning Point USA's All-American halftime show, so everyone can have a quick laugh.
But then he sees it. He sees the symbol that completes the puzzle, and it all comes rushing back to him. Now he finally understands what the Luciferian elite are planning next.
Don't believe your eyes. I know you don't love me like you say you do. It's just me in this
Bro, Shattered Paradise dude. The way you put these videos together, I commend you for it because I just don't got the patience to do this. But bro, like You deserve to be a 10 million subscribed to YouTuber. The way you put these videos together, man, you did an incredible job with this. For sure. So you get, hey, I'm giving you all the props in the world.
Family, we got another video by Shattered Paradise. You already know what's going on. All the truth, everything that they're going to be revealing in this video is about to be wild. Title of this one right here is
Agenda 88, When Twin Cults Collide. And to tell you the truth, we are not just spectators, because prophecy is being fulfilled all around us every single day. We cannot be ignorant of the devices of Satan. That's what I pulled from this video. It is a masterpiece. And the brother Kazak puts in countless days, right? Countless hours to set it before you. So you cannot be ignorant of the devices of Satan.
Agenda 88, When Twin Cults Collide, You Are Not Just a Spectator, is our latest deep dive exposing some of the hidden controllers' most guarded secrets. If you would like to support our work and view our latest presentation, it is available on our Patreon and websites. The links are in the description box below. Thank you for your support.
Now, Shattered Paradise, of course, they make fantastic videos. Honestly, tell you the truth, things that will have you thinking, really wanting to do a deep dive and doing your own research. They do a fantastic job. So you guys be sure to go check out Shattered Paradise, the YouTube channel. I just want to be sure that I give them their just due. Go check out Shattered Paradise. Show them some support. Show them some love. These are also fellow, if you're an Israelite, if you follow the Israelite culture, they are believers as well in that culture. So check them out. Go check them out, Shattered Paradise. Most definitely one of the channels I would recommend. They do a lot of end-time biblical prophecy videos, and I believe that you guys would heavily enjoy their content. Okay, so go check them out. Finally, y'all let me know what your thoughts is in the comment section below of all of this. Don't forget to like this video, y'all. Comment and subscribe and holler back at your boy. We'll see you guys in the next vlog, man. And don't forget to drop them rambling sheep in the chat on the way out. Bless you and shalom.